Group C is a diverse group of library professionals who live in various parts of the country and work in various library types, including school, public, and academic. This presentation will discuss diversity and inclusion in the instruction section and membership engagement of the library. In fall 2019, the ACRL Instruction Section Diversity and Inclusion Task Force issued a survey to membership that asked about diversity, equity, and inclusion in instruction. The 21-question survey covered 3 categories: diversity and inclusion in teaching, diversity and inclusion in the instruction section of ACRL, and demographics of the respondents' libraries. 183 responses returned, and Team C was tasked with analyzing the survey data and making recommendations for enhancement to the instruction section of ACRL.
All team members did a cursory read of the survey and responses, and we determined that hand-coding the qualitative data would be the best approach to trace common trends and themes in the responses. We divided the questions, and each team member read through their assigned question responses and noted the presence and frequency of words and themes. Our next step was to group these phrases and terms based on common elements. For example, professional development, training, and webinar were all placed together under an umbrella theme of professional development. Once a question was coded, it was shared in our Google Doc codebook. By sharing a codebook, we were able to holistically look at the survey results and form our recommendations. You can see how we pulled words that popped up frequently and grouped them with similar words and topics. For example, inclusive, inclusivity, diverse, diversity. You'll also see how we aggregated the qualitative data to discover themes, such as 25% of respondents indicating that DEI is important in their instruction session.
In analyzing the responses to the survey, we found recurring themes around 3 main points: institutional support, professional development, and the role of the ACRL's instructional section. Many of the responses asked for specific help within these areas. In institutional support, how to get buy-in from administration and peers beyond paying lip service to DEI in academia. In professional development, what does inclusivity look like? How do we practice diversity, equity, and inclusion without tokenizing while asking for specific examples in action? The instructional section role. Nearly 57% of respondents were unsure as to whether instructional section was doing a good job in creating a diverse environment for members, which is indicative that people don't know what is currently available from the instructional section and the ways in which they support DEI initiatives. Within these themes, one major concern kept coming up: funding. It is hard to find support for DEI initiatives within any institution if there is no funding to support them, and many find the professional development available to be cost prohibitive. Finding these resources through the ACRL's instructional section is not always an option, as membership costs can be out of reach for many librarians. Whatever resources are made available in the future, they have to be accessible to everyone, not just those that can pay for them.
Institutional support was one of the major themes that emerged. Respondents stressed that diversity and inclusion initiatives should be advanced not only at the leadership level, but across the organization. In addition to changes in practices and operations, there also need to be policies to support staff from marginalized groups. Survey respondents also noted that there's a lack of awareness and staff buy-in for diversity and inclusion. They said there needs to be acknowledgement of an organization's role in perpetuating bias historically, and also acknowledgement of the emotional labor and harmful incidents that individuals experience.
Professional development came up quite a bit in the survey, and we wanted to address the strengths and weaknesses of it in terms of how we understand what it's supposed to accomplish. First, there has to be a dedicated effort in any attempts to enrich the work experiences of Black and Indigenous people of color. It takes genuine time and effort and money, with the idea that those very people are not responsible for fixing diversity problems in our institutions, as we absolutely did not create them. Tokenization is incredibly harmful and is perpetuated through training and committees that don't see us as subject matter experts beyond diversity, equity, access, and inclusion work. Webinars are wonderful, but they are not a replacement for adequate training to enable us to do our jobs unburdened. We can take a little time and reevaluate our professional organizations and their training and professional development options to ensure we're not further marginalizing those who already perform a disproportionate amount of emotional labor. We also noticed in the survey results that the membership didn't have a feel for what the instruction section's role was in the greater organization. much less the fact that it has a committee dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of our suggested goals to mitigate this was to find ways to spread awareness by reaching the membership sooner. We don't have to wait until people are up for tenure. We don't have to wait until people become paid library workers. And we don't have to limit our perception of instruction to academic, college, and community college libraries. School librarians and public librarians engage in instructional activities all day and tend to work with a higher range of ages. And we can tap into that level of diversity by working with those programs and institutions to form partnerships within the realms of instruction and programming. The same is true for LIS education. And if we start sooner and ensure the membership knows who we are and what we do, we'll have less excuses to tune out of instruction-related conversations on diversity, equity, access, and inclusion work.
Recommendations and future applications. In order to build DEI into the ACRL instruction section, we must first have clear and actionable definitions for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and a clear understanding of how these concepts fit into the ACRL framework. Unambiguous definitions will make it easier for library professionals to put DEI into their library instruction sections and ACRL-IS efforts. One way to address lack of awareness and need for resources is a virtual DEI toolkit. Many respondents felt they had training that covered broad overviews in theory, but didn't know how to apply it in the classroom and other areas of librarianship. An effective virtual toolkit would contain links to existing resources along with fully formed lesson plans that librarians and library staff would be able to follow like a recipe.
Looking through the responses, we saw several themes emerge in regards to community building. The first being that more space needs to be made for the voices of people of color. As a predominantly white, female profession and section membership, white librarians must be mindful that they can't rely on the additional labor of librarians of color to educate them. If people of color are brought in to educate, they need to be compensated for their labor. In addition to DEI pedagogy models and lesson kits, respondents need professional development that is in itself inclusive. There is an abundance of professional development, but it's not always coming from a diverse set of voices. Topics need to be granular, straightforward, and actionable. Some examples include: what is systemic racism and what does it look like in higher ed and libraries? How can white librarians be good allies for librarians of color? How can we better support our students and patrons from diverse backgrounds? And so on. If professional development on DEI or any other topic is being presented by someone who is not a minority, they must be evaluated for a commitment to DEI principles. Do they have an understanding of DEI, their own biases, their own privilege? Are they willing to have an open discussion about the problems that BIPOC face in librarianship and society as a whole? This is key when providing DEI professional development, as presenters who do not acknowledge the hardships that BIPOC people endure will hurt DEI efforts. The other theme is that members weren't sure how to get involved. By making it simpler to get involved within ACRL, you open it up to the possibility of attracting those more diverse voices. Ask for feedback after professional development and after implementing actionable steps. Did you offer a training that centered diverse voices? Did you offer a toolkit with specific lesson plans? Did the steps you take have the impact that you'd hoped? We will be interested to see how ACRL will take our findings and use it to improve DEI efforts, resources, and education for its membership. Thank you.